They control their emotions instead of letting emotions control them. Emotions are powerful. They can drive us forward or hold us back. When things go wrong, it's easy to react out of frustration, anger, or fear. But mentally strong people don't let emotions dictate their decisions. They feel everything, but they don't act impulsively. They take a step back, assess the situation, and choose a response that aligns with their goals rather than their temporary feelings. The problem most people face is that they allow emotions to cloud their judgment. A bad day turns into a bad week because they dwell on negativity. A single failure convinces them they're not good enough because they let self-doubt take over. But emotions are temporary, and mentally strong people understand this. They don't deny what they feel, they acknowledge it, process it, and move forward with clarity. When faced with criticism, they don't take it personally. They filter out what's useful and discard the rest. When confronted with challenges, they don't crumble under pressure, they find solutions. And when things don't go as planned, they don't spiral into self-pity, they adapt. The key is not to suppress emotions, but to master them. It's about learning how to navigate difficult situations without being consumed by them. That's what separates those who grow from those who stay stuck. They embrace discomfort because they know growth happens outside the comfort zone. Most people avoid discomfort at all costs. They choose the easy path, the familiar routine, the safe option that doesn't challenge them. But mentally strong people know that growth only happens when you step beyond what feels comfortable. They intentionally put themselves in situations that force them to stretch, learn, and improve. Discomfort is where transformation begins. The first time you try something new, it feels awkward. The first time you push past a fear, it feels terrifying. But every time you face discomfort, you become stronger. The challenge is what makes you better. The struggle is what builds resilience. The biggest mistake people make is assuming they should wait until they feel ready before stepping into something difficult. But readiness doesn't come before action, it comes from action. Mentally strong people don't wait until they feel confident. They take action despite their fears, and confidence follows. They don't wait until the timing is perfect. They create the opportunity themselves. Every great achievement, every moment of real progress comes from enduring discomfort. The person who wants to be a great speaker must embrace the discomfort of standing in front of an audience. The person who wants to build a business must embrace the discomfort of uncertainty and risk. The person who wants to change their life must embrace the discomfort of breaking old habits and building new ones. Growth is never easy. It requires pushing through fear, frustration, and resistance. But mentally strong people don't run from discomfort, they lean into it because they know that's where their true potential is unlocked. They focus on what they can control and let go of what they can't. Most people waste energy worrying about things they have no power over. They stress about other people's opinions, unexpected setbacks, or circumstances beyond their control. This creates frustration, anxiety, and a constant feeling of helplessness. But mentally strong people operate differently. They understand that control is limited, so they choose to focus their energy where it matters, on their own actions, decisions, and mindset. When something doesn't go as planned, they don't dwell on it. Instead of complaining about what went wrong, they shift their attention to what they can do next. If they lose an opportunity, they look for the next one. If they face rejection, they focus on improving. If someone lets them down, they focus on how they respond instead of trying to change the other person. The ability to let go of what's out of your hands is not about ignoring reality, it's about accepting it and redirecting your efforts where they actually make a difference. Many people spend years resenting things they cannot change, wishing they had different circumstances, a different past, or a different set of opportunities. But mentally strong people don't waste their time in regret. They recognize that their energy is better spent taking action rather than worrying about things they can't influence. By focusing on what they can control, they eliminate unnecessary stress and frustration. They gain clarity, make better decisions, and move forward instead of staying stuck in the past. When you shift your mindset from trying to control everything to mastering your own responses, you stop feeling like a victim of your circumstances and start feeling like the creator of your own life. They stay committed to long-term goals even when motivation fades. Motivation is a great starting point, but it's unreliable. It comes and goes. Some days you wake up feeling inspired, ready to take on the world. Other days you struggle to get out of bed, and every task feels like a burden. Most people give up when motivation fades because they rely too much on how they feel in the moment. But mentally strong people don't depend on motivation to stay on track. They understand that commitment is more powerful than motivation. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is the ability to keep going even when they don't feel like it. They show up even when it's inconvenient. They put in the work even when they're tired. They don't look for excuses. They find reasons to keep pushing forward. It's not about feeling like working hard every day. It's about deciding to do it no matter what. One of the biggest mistakes people make is assuming that successful individuals always feel motivated. They don't. They struggle, they have doubts, they experience frustration, but they don't let those moments define their action. They have a clear vision of what they want, and they commit to it long after the initial excitement wears off. Success is not built on short bursts of motivation. It's built on consistency, discipline, and the willingness to keep going despite obstacles. They embrace discomfort and see challenges as opportunities for growth. Most people avoid discomfort. They want success, but they don't want to endure the difficult process that comes with it. They want growth, but they resist the challenges that force them to change. The moment things get hard, they hesitate, pull back, or quit altogether. Mentally strong people, on the other hand, do the opposite. They lean into discomfort because they understand that it's the only way to grow. Every challenge, every setback, every difficult moment is an opportunity to learn. When faced with adversity, they don't see it as a sign to stop. They see it as a test of how badly they want it. Instead of running from problems, they tackle them head on. They know that avoiding discomfort only leads to stagnation, while facing it leads to progress. This mindset applies to everything: building a career, improving relationships, developing new skills. Growth only happens when you push beyond what's easy. If you never challenge yourself, you never improve. If you never take risks, you never learn what you're capable of. If you never step outside your comfort zone, you never reach new levels of success. Discomfort is not a punishment, it's a necessary part of evolution. The most successful people in the world didn't get there by playing it safe. They got there by enduring moments of doubt, frustration, and failure, but pushing through anyway. They became stronger because they embraced the hard parts of the journey instead of avoiding them. When you stop fearing discomfort and start seeing it as a signal that you're on the right track, you develop a level of resilience that allows you to keep going no matter how difficult things get. They don't seek validation and approval from others. Most people spend their lives trying to impress others, seeking approval and shaping their decisions based on what will be accepted or admired. They hesitate to take risks because they're afraid of criticism. They hold themselves back from doing what they truly want because they fear judgment. This constant need for validation becomes a barrier to real success and self-fulfillment. Mentally strong people break free from this cycle. They don't need external approval to feel worthy. Their confidence doesn't come from how many people like them or how much recognition they receive. It comes from within. They understand that no matter what they do, there will always be people who disagree, criticize, or misunderstand them. And that's okay. Instead of wasting energy trying to please everyone, they focus on staying true to themselves. They trust their decisions even when others don't understand them. They follow their path even when it's unconventional. They recognize that seeking validation is a trap because it puts their happiness in the hands of others. The moment you stop looking for approval is the moment you gain real freedom. You stop making decisions based on fear and you start making them based on what's right for you. The strongest people are not the ones who try to fit in. They're the ones who are unafraid to stand alone. They practice emotional control and don't let feelings dictate their actions. Most people react to life based on how they feel in the moment. If they're frustrated, they lash out. If they're disappointed, they quit. If they're unmotivated, they don't take action. Their emotions control them, and as a result, they make choices that hurt them in the long run. Mentally strong people understand that emotions are temporary, and they don't allow them to dictate their decisions. This doesn't mean they suppress their emotions or ignore how they feel. They acknowledge them, process them, and then act based on logic and long-term goals rather than temporary feelings. If they feel discouraged, they don't use it as an excuse to stop. If they feel angry, they don't make impulsive decisions they'll regret later. They recognize that their emotions are just signals, not instructions. Developing emotional control means understanding that just because you feel something doesn't mean you have to act on it. Feelings of self-doubt don't mean you're not capable. Feelings of frustration don't mean you should give up. Feelings of fear don't mean you should avoid taking risks. The ability to manage emotions allows mentally strong people to stay consistent, make better decisions, and maintain stability even in high-pressure situations. In life, emotions are inevitable. There will be times of frustration, doubt, and fear, but how you respond to those emotions determines everything. The difference between success and failure often comes down to who can keep moving forward despite how they feel. Mentally strong people don't allow bad days to turn into bad decisions. They don't allow temporary emotions to derail their long-term vision. They understand that discipline, consistency, and resilience are far more important than the fleeting emotions they experience in the moment. They take full responsibility for their lives and never play the victim. Many people go through life blaming their circumstances, other people, or bad luck for where they are. They believe life is happening to them, and as a result, they feel powerless. They wait for things to change, for someone to save them, or for the perfect opportunity to appear. But nothing changes because they never take control. Mentally strong people reject this mindset completely. They take full responsibility for their choices, their mindset, and their actions. Even when things go wrong, they don't waste time blaming others. Instead, they focus on what they can control. They ask themselves what they can learn, what they can improve, and what actions they need to take to move forward. They understand that while they can't control everything that happens to them, they can always control how they respond. Taking responsibility isn't always easy. It requires admitting mistakes, recognizing weaknesses, and accepting that no one is coming to rescue you. But it's also incredibly empowering. When you take full ownership of your life, you stop waiting for change and start creating it. Mentally strong people don't make excuses, they don't wait for permission, they don't dwell on what's unfair, they focus on what they can do right now to get closer to where they want to be. They are adaptable and embrace change instead of resisting it. Most people fear change because it disrupts what's familiar. It pushes them out of their comfort zone and into the unknown, where there are no guarantees, no clear outcomes, and no safety net. This fear leads them to resist change, even when staying the same is holding them back. They cling to routines, habits, and environments that feel safe, even if those very things are keeping them stuck. But mentally strong people understand that change is not the enemy, it's the only way to grow. They don't waste time wishing things would stay the same or fearing what might happen if things shift. Instead, they train themselves to embrace uncertainty. They understand that life is unpredictable and that adaptability is one of the most powerful skills a person can have. When faced with unexpected challenges, they don't panic. They don't complain, they adjust. They pivot. They look at what they can do rather than dwell on what they can't control. Being adaptable doesn't mean you have to change. It means you have to accept it. It means recognizing that resisting what's inevitable only causes unnecessary stress and delays progress. The strongest people in the world aren't the ones who refuse to change. They are the ones who learn how to navigate change, how to adjust their strategies, and how to keep moving forward even when nothing goes as planned. In any situation, there are two choices: resist change and stay stuck, or embrace change and grow. The people who adapt are the ones who succeed because they don't let discomfort keep them from evolving. They trust that every change, no matter how difficult, brings an opportunity to learn, to improve, and to move closer to becoming the person they are meant to be. They don't let failure define them or stop them from trying again. Failure is inevitable. No one who has ever accomplished something great has done so without facing setbacks. Yet most people treat failure as an end point. They take it personally. They see it as proof that they aren't good enough, that they should stop trying, that they should play it safe and avoid the risk of failing again. This is why so many people give up before they ever see real progress. They let one failure convince them that success is impossible. Mentally strong people don't think this way. They see failure as part of the process, not the end of it. They understand that failure is not a reflection of their worth, but simply a lesson on what doesn't. Every setback is an opportunity to adjust, refine, and improve. They don't let failure break their confidence because they know that failure is proof they are trying, and trying is the only way to succeed. What separates those who succeed from those who don't is how they respond to failure. Some people stop, others keep going. The ones who keep going are the ones who eventually make it, because they refuse to let failure have the final say. They don't dwell on their mistakes, they learn from them. They take what they need, leave the rest behind, and step forward stronger than before.